And welcome to Strikeout Beer 9 a.m. beer reviews with your pals Alan and Rapid Dave. I'm Alan.
I'm Rapid Dave.
Here we are, new beer. It's a whole new day. I'm wearing a new shirt. We're drinking Lakewood Live Volume 3 Norwegian-Style Imperial Stout with juniper berries and honey. 9% alcohol by volume. This is from their small batch series. The can just screams like rock and roll.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like I'm thinking like Ronnie James Dio, like a rainbow in the dark. When I see stuff like this, it's an Imperial Stout, which here's what you get with an Imperial Stout. We grab a beer and we go Imperial Stout. And I go, fuck yes. And then I get Rapid Dave going, oh fuck. And then we pour it. Hard pour to appease the napkin in your stomach. And we both go, ah, damn, that's a delicious beer.
Oh, man. It ain't bad. It ain't bad.
So here's what I want to say, because you're like, what are we talking about? I go, we're talking about Imperial Stouts. And you go, but then you laughed a little bit. You're like, okay, let's do it. But tell me what goes through your mind, because, again, we grab an Imperial Stout, we drink it. I tell you, hey, we're drinking Imperial Stout, and you're like freaking Murtaugh from freaking Lethal Weapon. I'm too old for this ass. But every time you enjoy it, you like it, you think it's a good beer. So walk me through what happens in your head when I say Imperial, not even just say Imperial Stout, when I just say the words stout.
Well, I mean, for the most part, like this is super late night for us, right? This is our, fifth or sixth beer, and it's super late. Like it's steep late night for us. And somehow these beers always pop up towards the late night. This is a clear the fridge episode. This beer is from 2021. This beer
Almost
is
a year old. December, right?
I had two of these things sitting around in the fridge. I sent you home with one last week, and it's from December of 2021. It's an older beer. Two, it's a stout, and it puts the ABV up to like what 9%, I think it was.
We are rocking. Hold on a second. Yeah, 9%, 9% on this one.
And so, yeah, no, it's Monday night. We're sitting here having our beers. This is our night to party a little bit because of the fact that we don't do it on Wednesdays anymore. Now the show still goes live on Wednesdays and we have fun, but this is our night to cut loose, which is weird because it's the beginning of the week. Two,
we're both at home, so it's you don't have to worry. Neither one of us have to worry about driving or going anywhere. It's I walk 10 feet to my room. You walk 10 feet to your room. You lay down, you pass out. I don't know. Maybe Lizzie comes and checks on you here in an hour. Maybe Liz comes and checks on me in an hour. It's just kind of the way it goes. They walk in at some point in time during tonight. They'll each walk in and go, "Do you know what time it is?" And we go, "Yeah, we're gonna have another beer. It's beer time."
I know exactly what time it is, and I'm just as upset just as upset as you are. Okay, right. I'm very upset,
but the party keeps going.
But the party keeps going, and it's just one of those things where it's a stout or it's a coffee stout, it's an Imperial stout, or it's something that's the whole problem with me is it's the beer that propels the night over the top. Most of these beers are 9%ers, 8%ers, 13%ers, and it just really does send the night into a tailspin. But as I've drank more and more of these beers, the more I've tasted these beers and things like that. I don't like whiskey. I don't like bourbon. And like you've said, I've got the most bourbon and whiskey in a house that people that don't like, that claims they don't like it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You're like, I hate whiskey. Hey man, we're going to drink some whiskey, but we're not going to drink that good ass. Okay. I need that bottom of the barrel. If it's not in the plastic bottle, I don't want it. So don't tell me you don't like the taste of bourbon or whiskey, because I've been out with you and we've ordered it, or I've been at your house and you've had it. So I don't understand. Like, explain to me where this comes from. where you're like, I don't like bourbon, I don't like whiskey, but you'll sit down and you'll knock it back with the best of us. And you
It
have
just it
in
just
the
comes
worst
from
ways.
the the experience and things like that, as far as being a person that drinks it or sips on it and things like this, and where you shoot it as well, and
Right.
it's things that escalates and gets out of control, just like these beers are absolute prime beers to sit around and enjoy in moderation, sitting by a fire. We talked about this several times. This is a heavy beer. This is a beer that has wonderful flavors that you want to sit there and sip on. You don't want to
It
slam it. You
does,
want to
yeah.
sit there, you'll sit on the fire, you'll have this beer would pair perfectly with a s'more. I'm telling you right now, you're out back, it's 55 degrees, you got a nice little chill in the air, you got the TV on, you're watching Thursday night football, Sunday
Got
night
the hoodie
football.
on, just
It's hoodie season. You're
you
sitting
got
there
the
just
hood pulled up. I don't
yeah,
know, man. You
you're
just
just
wherever you
sitting
feel.
you're sitting there enjoying yourself, and this beer is sitting there. And yeah, this beer normally would be that. But here we are, number 5 of the night, and we've slammed a couple. And now it's like, all right, well, now we got to kind of straighten up a little bit. So that's why my defenses automatically go up. I got to play, prevent defense, even though I'm sitting there just sipping on like 3 different beers as we speak.
You
And
say you're playing prevent defense, but you're still drinking on the first beer that we had tonight.
yeah,
So
I am. But these beers, I'll be honest with you, it's been I don't know how many years I've gotten into the craft beer game. Was it 5 years now? Maybe 4 years.
I'd say
And
so. The podcast has been going for over almost 5 years now. I think
okay,
April or May will be 5 years. So we're like 4.5 years, I think, or maybe five going into six, somewhere around those numbers. But however it is, probably about 6 months before was when we started getting into this. When I started getting you into this craft beers thing, right? I've always drank the craft beers. I had a beer drinking competition with our buddy the Knob back in '08, where we did whoever can drink the most different types of beer in the year one. But I started getting you into it. We started doing, fancy football bets, or I would just bring the stuff, and you were the one who was like, "Yeah, no, I'll drink it," and that's kind of how we got into it, and we started doing it. Then that kind of led to the podcast, and here we are now, 4 or 5 years later, however long, we're somewhere around like episode number like 217, I think, for the podcast. And that's just the main show, right? That doesn't count these Monday night shows. That doesn't count the late night show. We had a period of time where we had the late night show, or the late night show. That's just that one show a week on the Wednesdays, when we had the show. But yeah, it's just, I crack open a stout and I enjoy it. Would I rather sit back in the backyard, sip on it for 30, 40 minutes? Absolutely. By the fire and things like that. But the things you do for your supporters, for your people, right? We go through it. We go through it quick. We want to make sure we drink the entire beer before we really review it or rate it, because we've been there where we've taken 2 sips and been like, this beer sucks. But sip number 3, sip number 4, sip number 5, you're like, God bless, this is a delicious beer. So we make sure we finish the full beer for you guys before we start reviewing it, rating it, talking about it. And we do go through a lot of these beers a lot quicker than we typically would if we were just here at our house.
absolutely. I mean that it all comes into play. Like this particular beer and the other beers we've had tonight, it's one of those where you sit around, and I've said it a million times. We are in the prime seasons of sitting around outdoors, sipping on these beers, enjoy them, full flavor, full just indulgence, and you want to absorb these flavors. And
Yeah,
it's a weird thing to say, I know, but it's one where you just want to sit there and sip on it. Don't worry, this will get you a little messed up.
it'll
you
get you
know,
there.
it's a 9%er, and it is what it is. And back when I got into craft beer or whatever, it was for us, it was just simple DFS bet. Oh, can you score more points than I? And you know what? Guess who won? We
We
both won.
we did. The loser brought a 6-pack of beer that we split between the two of us.
Yeah. So we
So
sat there and talked about craft beer and fantasy football for the next hour, if not longer, and that's how this whole show spawned. But it's one of those things where for me, we're in the later months of the year. We're in November now. This beer has aged perfectly for the last 13 months, 12 or it was 11 months.
11 months.
And yeah, no, this is the beer of the season. It's a dark beer. It's a stout. It's got a little bit more alcohol content. It's 9%. The flavors, the notes, everything it has is all working towards it. And it's a sit down. I've said it a million times. This is the time of the year where you sit down and relax and then just kind of slow down life. The first 9 months of the year or 8 months is just so fast. It's just rapid fire after, and then finally you get to sit there and just we got holidays after holidays after holidays. Time to chill.
Yeah. And again, like this is also the time of the year. Like I'll go ahead and encourage you, go and buy a stout. I don't care what stout it is. Go and buy it. Put it in the back of your fridge and wait until next year and crack it open. With stouts, the longer they sit, the better they get. A lot of them. Like one of my favorite stouts. It's from a brewery up in Michigan, from New Holland Brewing, Dragon's Milk. I really enjoy it, but the best time to enjoy a Dragon's Milk is to get it, put it in your fridge, and let it sit for a year, and then drink it. It's so much better a year later. And I feel like that with a lot of stouts. If you let them sit, like we play clear the fridge and I grab a stout that's been sitting there for 11 months, that's a W. That's a win. Like before we even crack it open, you're telling me like, yeah, this beer was brewed in December of last year. I look at you and go, oh, buddy, I can't wait. I am so excited. I didn't lose clear the fridge tonight. I won it. And that's what you get with these stouts that have sat for a long time, especially things like this. This is a small batch series, right? This was a brewed really small batch of it. There's not a lot of people out there drinking this right now because they don't have it. It was a small batch, limited amount of cans, limited amount of beers on tap. It's all gone. The ones on tap have been gone for almost a year now, right? But the cans, you got some people. There are still some people who are holding on to this, and God bless you because you're winning at life. I mean, am I wrong?
I mean, you're not. How many Lakewood beers have I been through in the last 6 months? And they've all come out of this fridge that used to be behind me. And I had like Lakewood Volume 3, Lakewood Volume 2, and I had like beers just sitting there. And you go back and check our TikTok and things like that. I'm like, I'm just gripping, ripping, man. I'm trying to have fun, but they've made some extremely crushable beers, drinkable beers, sitting back and relaxing beers as well. So
So they have a 12-pack that I almost bought today that's got 3 or 4 different beers, and they're all stouts. It's like the sensational 6-pack or 12-pack or something like that. And it's got like um it's got a couple different flavors of the Temptress and a couple other ones in there, right?
okay.
And they're all delicious. They're all bangers. Um, they're just really good beers. Like their Temptress beers are really good. We've had like the normal Temptress. We've had the French Toast. They have a French Quarter. They have a bunch of different flavors of the Temptress, and they're all really really good. All the ones I've had are delicious. And with a lot of those, there's some of those beers that you get a 4-pack. They come in 4-packs, right? And you drink the first 3, and you take the fourth one, and you just push it to the back of your fridge, and you forget about it. And then you find it 7, 8, 9, 10 months later, whatever. maybe it makes it to a year, and you crack it open, and it's phenomenal and so delicious.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's crazy. I love the brewery. When I went out there, super friendly. The beers on tap were phenomenal. Got to sit there and chill, just look around and whatnot. And I really did enjoy it. I really did. Lakewood's a hell of a brewery. So big cheers to that.
Hell of a brewery, and they brew some damn good. The thing that when we talk DFW beers, right? Every brewery is known for something else, and I think Lakewood is known for their stouts. Um, their stouts. Their number one beer out of there is the Temptress line, right? And there's several different flavors out of there, but they're all stouts and they're all delicious and phenomenal and good for you, right?
Yeah. I'm taking my time with this one. But
Okay.
yeah, Lakewood Live Volume 3 Norwegian-Style Imperial Stout with juniper, berries, and honey. 9% alcohol by volume, small batch series. I mean, it's just you can't find this beer
So,
anywhere.
so from time to time, I find these reviews on Untapped, and I want to read this one for this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is from Christopher R. Very faint roast aroma, thin to medium body, a bit more dry and bitter than most. No honey flavor, but that may be the dryness I get. I don't know what juniper berries taste like. Maybe bitter. And he gave it a 3 out of 5. He had it on tap out at Ron's place.
Wait, Ron's Place in Addison, Texas?
I don't
That's a
know.
that's a damn Raiders bar. That son of a bitch.
Hold on, let me click on. Yeah, Addison. Yep.
Yeah,
4145 Beltline Road, Addison, Texas.
that's a Raiders bar, man. Come on, man.
You went to a Raiders bar with Lee.
I've been to a couple. That was one of them. When that audio was pulled, that was from Ron's.
Nice.
Damn. He still gave it a 3. He was like, well, I don't know what this is, and I don't know what this is, but I still give it a 3 out of 5. A 3 out of 5 ain't bad.
here's another. JS. Wanted to try a beer with juniper. Not sure what I'm tasting. Smells of honey. Mediocre stout with a slight bitterness that I'm guessing is the juniper. Nothing's really special. DNF. But I don't agree with that because this guy, he just wanted to taste something with juniper in it, regardless of what it was. And that's the thing. That's one of my problems with Untapped. You have people going on there and drinking beers they know nothing about,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to go grab a beer that they don't like and rate it and review it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, if you're like, for me, I'm not going to go on Untapped and drink a sour beer and go, oh, this is awful. Well, I'm not a big fan of sour beers. So I'm not going to review a sour beer because that's not my style. That's not what I like. Like, I might be like, oh, this is a 1, but people who like sour beers and enjoy sour beers are giving a 4 or a 5. Don't review something, especially if you don't know what it is and you don't like that style. Don't review it.
Yeah.
For me, I'm really enjoying this. I think this is really good. Lakewood Live Volume 3 is delicious. To me, again, I talked about the can. It screams rock and roll. This beer's like a rainbow in the dark to me. Ronnie James Dio. If you don't know, Google it and figure it out. Talking to you young bucks out there. But this is a delicious beer. I'm almost done. I'm going to take my last wig. It's good. Good for you. Really enjoy it. Go get you some if you still can. It's probably not going to be able to find it. But if you can, or if you still have some, go start a fire in the yard, in your fire pit, or your fireplace inside. Crack it open, sip on it, enjoy life. What do you got?
2 thumbs up. I mean, this beer is aged perfectly for the last year. I'm super excited to have it, and I was glad that I was able to give you one.
I thank you. This
You're
is
welcome.
probably one of the best things you've ever given me.
Yeah.
Better than the time you gave me chlamydia.
I was
That's all
about
I
to
gotta
say, chlamydia was a close second.
It was not a close second. That time sucked. I did not appreciate the time you gave me chlamydia. But hey, guys, as always, I'm Alan.
I'm Rubber Dave.
Talk to you guys later. Deuces.